Swadaka, it's now time for the midday edition of NBT World Brief. You're with me, Nawarat Wong Araya. A landmark diplomatic mission is now underway. Prime Minister Anutin Chanvirakul has departed for Indonesia on Thailand's first official prime ministerial visit in 15 years, aiming to deepen economic and security cooperation. At 12:30 today, Prime Minister and Interior Minister Anutin Chanvirakul departed from Wing 6 Military Airport for a two-day official visit to Indonesia, accompanied by his spouse Thananon Chanvirakul and a government delegation. The trip marks the first official visit to Indonesia by a Thai Prime Minister in 15 years. Upon arrival in Jakarta, the Prime Minister will receive an official welcome before holding bilateral and full delegation talks with Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto. Discussions will focus on expanding cooperation in trade, security, regional connectivity, food and energy security, sustainable development, and improving the business environment. The two leaders will also witness the signing of two key agreements, which are the Thailand-Indonesia Strategic Partnership Plan and a Memorandum of Understanding on Education Cooperation. The visit will conclude with a joint press conference followed by an official dinner hosted by President Prabowo in honor of the Thai Prime Minister and his delegation. Thailand has clarified the recent remarks by a UN human rights expert on Cambodia. He says the document reflects the expert's personal assessment and should not be interpreted as the official position of the United Nations. Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister SIHASAK has clarified the status of a report by UN Special Rapporteur Tom Andrews on the human rights situation in Cambodia. The minister said the document is not an official United Nations report, but an independent report prepared by Mr. Andrews under his mandate from the United Nations Human Rights Council. He explained that the report must go through the Council's formal review process in Geneva, Switzerland, where it will be discussed by member states. A former president of the UN Human Rights Council, the Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister SIHASAK stressed that special rapporteurs are expected to remain impartial and objective because their reports serve as the basis for the Council's deliberations. He also expressed concern that Mr. Andrews' report contains references to Thailand that, in the government's view, were not properly verified, despite the rapporteur's mandate focusing on the human rights situation in Cambodia. However, Cambodia later used those references for political propaganda against Thailand.
พาดพิงประเทศไทยนะครับตรงนี้ก็ทำให้เราห่วงในการทำงานของนายแอนดรูส์ที่จะต้องเน้นหลักของความเป็นกลางเที่ยงธรรมและไม่ลำเอียงนะครับและที่เราเป็นห่วงเป็นพิเศษก็คือว่าฝ่ายกัมพูชาเนี่ยได้ประโคมข่าวเรื่องนี้แล้วก็คัดเลือกบางประเด็นเท่านั้นจากรายงานซึ่งมีหลายเรื่องด้วยกันนะครับเอาไปขยายผลต่อคือในส่วนที่พาดพิงประเทศไทยขยายผลต่อใช้ในการโฆษณาชวนเชื่อนะครับเพื่อวัตถุประสงค์ทางการเมืองนะครับทั้งที่ในการหารือระหว่างผู้นำของทั้งสองประเทศที่เซบูในช่วงการประชุมสุดยอดของอาเซียนเนี่ยเราได้ตกลงกันแล้วว่าเรานอกจากการหยุดยิงในพื้นที่เราจะละเว้นจากการโจมตีซึ่งกันและกันในเวทีระหว่างประเทศเพื่อสร้างบรรยากาศที่ดีขึ้นให้กับความสัมพันธ์นะครับก็แสดงว่ากัมพูชาก็ไม่ได้ปฏิบัติตามที่เราตกลงกันไว้นะครับ
Meanwhile, the Bank of Thailand is pushing for a major overhaul of the country's financial system, aiming to improve access to credit for SMEs and tighten controls on suspicious financial transactions to support sustainable economic growth. Bank of Thailand Governor Vitai Rattanakon says Thailand must accelerate economic restructuring to cope with growing geopolitical and trade challenges, stressing that the country's biggest problem is not a lack of capital, but inefficient allocation of financial resources. According to the central bank, more than 75% of financing is concentrated among large corporations, while lending to SMEs has declined for 15 consecutive quarters. Only 21% of high-potential SMEs can access bank loans, compared with 63% of large businesses, and SMEs pay nearly double the average borrowing cost. To improve access to financing, the governor proposed using big data, including credit records, bank transactions, utility payments, and other alternative data to better assess borrowers' credit worthiness and expand lending at more affordable rates. The Bank of Thailand is also tightening measures against illicit financial activity by requiring explanations for monthly cash withdrawals exceeding 5 million baht and increasing scrutiny of gold and digital asset transactions, including USDT. Authorities say suspicious gold-related transactions have dropped sharply, while more than 2,500 mule and online gambling-linked bank accounts have been shut down. Thailand remains on the U.S. Treasury's trade monitoring list, but the Bank of Thailand says the country is moving closer to being removed as it continues to meet key economic and exchange rate criteria. Bank of Thailand Assistant Governor and spokesperson Chayawadi Chayanan says the latest U.S. Treasury report has kept Thailand on its monitoring list because of the country's large trade surplus with the United States, which totaled $72 billion. However, Thailand met the other two assessment criteria, its current account balance and foreign exchange intervention, meaning the trade surplus is now the only remaining factor keeping the country on the list. The Bank of Thailand, or BOT, expects that in the next review, covering data from July 2025 until June 2026, Thailand will continue to meet the other benchmarks, giving it a chance to be removed from the monitoring list within about a year if no new risk factors emerge.
จริงๆแล้วเกณฑ์ของสหรัฐบอกว่าถ้าคุณอยู่ใน monitoring list แปลว่าจะต้องติดอยู่ใน monitoring list อย่างน้อย2รายงานต่อกันนะคะแล้วเพื่ออะไรเพื่อที่เขาจะติดตามแล้วก็พิจารณาในเรื่องของการทำนโยบายของประเทศนั้นอย่างใกล้ชิดแต่ว่าสามารถที่จะพิจารณาถอดออกจาก monitoring list ได้ถ้าไม่ได้ติดเกณฑ์อะไรกลับถ้าไม่ได้กลับมาติดเกณฑ์อะไรเพิ่มขึ้นอีกคิดว่าในรายงานฉบับถัดไปเนี่ยที่เป็นข้อมูลตั้งแต่กรกฎาคมถึงมิถุนายนก็ไทยน่าจะติดเพียง1 ใน 3เกณฑ์นะคะก็คือยังเป็นเรื่องของเกณฑ์การกระดุลในเรื่องของการค้าสินค้าและบริการกับสหรัฐนะคะแล้วก็น่าจะมีโอกาสที่จะถูกที่จะพ้นจากการอยู่ใน monitoring list ในรายงานฉบับถัดไปนะคะ
The U.S. Treasury also acknowledged that the BOT's measures on capital flows and gold trading are intended to safeguard financial stability and reduce volatility in the baht, rather than to gain an unfair trade advantage over the United States. Beyond its famous Rocket Festival, YASOTHON province has much more to offer, and the Ministry of Tourism and Sports is now promoting the province's unique traditions and community tourism to attract visitors all year long. The Tourism and Sports Minister SIHASAK Pancharoenwarakul visited YASOTHON province to launch the government's Tourism for All, Tourism for the Future initiative, which aims to shift Thailand's tourism industry from volume-driven growth to high-quality, sustainable travel. During the visit, the minister called on local authorities to build on YASOTHON's cultural heritage by promoting signature attractions, including the world-famous Khao Thaw Garland Festival during Maka Pucha and the Phai Muang Ming Festival at the end of Buddhist Lent, as major cultural events for domestic and international visitors. The ministry also plans to expand agro-tourism and community farm stays, allowing visitors to experience local traditions, organic farming, and authentic cuisine, while creating new income for farmers and small businesses. The minister urged local authorities, community leaders, and the private sector to improve tourism standards, safety, and hospitality, with the goal of establishing YASOTHON as a high-quality cultural tourism destination. And that is the end of our midday edition of NBT World Brief. And for more stories, simply scan the QR code on your screen to access our full coverage across all media platforms. Until next time, I'm Nawarat Wong Araya. สวัสดีค่ะ